Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Jason. This is Art of Creation Homestead, and we're in the kitchen today. Obviously, you just seen we picked some beautiful kale. I'm going to show you a lovely way to fix this beautiful kale straight out of your backyard, okay? Angela Kay's over here, and she's got a little recipe for you. She told me I had to say this. It's called Zuppa Toscana. Okay, or as we'd say back home, Zuppa Toscana. But here she is. It's a wonderful Italian sausage and potato soup with some kale, okay? But you heard what I said.
Okay, we start out. You want to use a heavy bottom pot. I'm using an enamel cast iron Dutch oven, but just make sure you use a heavy bottom pot. We're starting out with about 8 slices of bacon. I'm using thick cut. You can use whatever you have, about 8 slices. I'll show you a little tip. You guys know I'm full of tips and tricks. To cut up your bacon, that way it will fry quicker. That way you don't have to cut it up after it's done. As you can see, I've already cut some of it up. These are just kitchen shears. These aren't the nasty old scissors that you cut open boxes with or cut open mail with. These are kitchen shears that you only use for food. Okay, you take your bacon, stack it up, and then you just cut. And that makes it so much easier. It fries so much quicker. See? Now, you just turn your heat on your stove on about medium high, and you just start frying your bacon. And you take your spoon and break it up as you go, and where it's kind of stacked on top of each other, where you stacked it up to cut it, it will all break up into single pieces and it'll be fine. We've fried up our bacon. As you can see, it's nice and crispy, and we set it aside for later. Here's another little tip for you. When you're draining your bacon, I know everybody tells you to drain it on paper towel. Paper towel tends to leave lint on it, and I don't like lint on my bacon. So I use uncoated paper plate. This is, and Jason's stealing bacon. This is an uncoated paper plate, and you put it on there, it will absorb it. And if it's the little thin paper plates, then just do a small stack of them, and it will absorb, the paper will absorb all of the grease, and you won't have any lint on your bacon. So now, over here we have the bacon grease, which is about 2 to 3 tablespoons.
And that's not burnt, y'all. It's okay.
No. This happens on the bottom of a cast iron Dutch oven, enamel cast iron Dutch oven. Everybody knows that. It will come up, and it will add extra flavor. So in here, we have about 1/2 cup of chopped onion, and we have 1 pound of mild Italian sausage. You can use hot Italian sausage if you like things spicy. You can use hot Italian sausage. If you don't have Italian sausage and you want to make this, you can use breakfast sausage, and just throw in with it. Just throw in a little bit of Italian seasoning, and if you want it hot, throw in some crushed red pepper flakes, which you can do that anyways if you want it hot. So now we're going to turn our heat on about medium high again, and you want to break up your sausage. So I'm using this handy dandy tool, and we will try to leave a link in the description. I know Amazon has them. It's called a mix and chop, and see, it just mixes, it just chops everything up to make it into fine pieces, because you want it in finer pieces. This is soup. You don't want sausage patties in your soup. So you want to chop it all up and let it fry really nicely. At this point, it depends on how much you like salt. Whether you want to add salt at this point. I personally add a little bit of salt. I season as I go. I season each element as I go. This sausage is nicely seasoned, so I don't have to add much. But I do add a good bit of pepper at this point, because after all, I am married to the pepper man. Which right now is probably the bacon man, because he's probably sneaking bacon more.
I didn't get any more bacon. But I can.
Don't eat all the bacon. Okay, if you can see through all the steam, the sausage is about half done now. The sausage and onions are about half done, so you want to add in your garlic. This is about 5 cloves of minced garlic. You can add as much or as little as you like. We like a lot of garlic, so I'm adding 5 good-sized cloves. We would probably be fine with even more than that. We love garlic.
We grew, by the way.
Yes. It's coming to an end how much we have left of what we grew.
It's sad.
It's sad. But we've got more growing. Now, you want to fry this until your sausage is completely done. And your garlic is nice and cooked and fragrant, which, by the way, this smells amazing already.
Scrape the bottom as you're stirring.
And you want to scrape the bottom as you're stirring. See, the stuff that looked like it was burnt, it's starting to come up. Now, once you add your liquid, it'll all come up. And it'll just add flavor.
Them old pros call it fond.
Yes. Yes, that's fond, and it will come up, and it will add even more flavor to your soup. Okay, as you can see, the sausage and onions and garlic are nice and done. And smells absolutely amazing.
It really does smell great.
And it's all fried in bacon grease, so how can you beat that? Now, we're going to add 4 cups of chicken stock.
Chicken stock. Not broth, correct?
Yes. And you can use broth, it just won't have as much flavor. Now, you want to just let this come up to a simmer. And just come up to a gentle bubble. And then you can knock the heat back at that point. And just put the lid on it. And at that point, you can just let it simmer before you add the potatoes.
Right now, the heat is where?
On medium.
Okay.
So now, we're just going to let this come up to a bubble. You guys know what a bubble looks like. And we will be back when it's time to add the potatoes. Okay, Jason's out shutting the chickens in. And I came in a little early to finish up supper. So now, your broth and everything is up to a boil. Up to a nice gentle bubble. And we're getting ready to add the potatoes. Now this is about 6 medium to large potatoes. As you can see, I left the skin on. If you don't like skin on your potatoes, go ahead and peel them. These, I just scrubbed them up really, really good with one of these things. It's a potato scrubber. It's a vegetable scrubber. It will get all the dirt off and do a great job with it. Now, I cut all of these potatoes in half. And then I sliced them about that thick. And as you can tell, that's a lot of potato. It makes a lot of soup. It is at a good little bubble now. And we will throw in our potatoes now. And try not to splash yourselves in the face with hot liquid. And we'll stir it all up. Stir it all into that broth. And all into the sausage. And here's a little trick. Here's a little tip for you about this. Potatoes, in case you didn't know, absorb seasoning like crazy. So even though the broth is seasoned well, the sausage is seasoned well, everything is seasoned well, you'll want to add a little bit of salt and pepper at this point. And you know, if you've watched our videos, we use pink Himalayan. So a good couple pinches of salt, but we'll adjust that later. And now a good bit of black pepper, because as I always say, I am married to the pepper man. So now stir in your seasonings. And now you will let this cook until the potatoes are very tender. Till they're nice and tender that they will split easily. when you hit them with a spoon or a fork. Now we're going to put the lid on. And we're going to let that come up to a bubble on about medium heat. This should take about 15 minutes or so for the potatoes to cook. And then we'll be back and I'll show you the next steps. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes and our potatoes are nice and tender. At this point, you want to taste it for seasoning and adjust the seasoning, which I have adjusted the seasoning. Add a little bit more salt and a little bit more pepper. Now we're going to add the kale. This is about 2 cups.
Uh-oh, fogged up. Squeegee.
This is about 2 cups of kale that I've removed the stems and just tore them up. It's maybe a little bit more than 2 cups. If you don't like kale, you can leave it out, but the soup is not going to be the same. Honestly, if you are serving a picky eater here, they're not going to taste the kale.
No, it's actually a really good way to get greens in you without actually having to taste kale if somebody's worried about it. But it's also a great way to use homegrown kale, whatever. And you can use as much kale as you really want.
This won't take long at all. At this point, you just want the kale to wilt down just a little bit. So it won't take long at all. Because see, as you can see, it's already wilting down really good. Okay, your kale's all wilted down now. And we're going to cream this up a little bit. We're going to add about a cup of heavy cream. Now you want your heat to be off at this point, because you don't want your cream to curdle. Doesn't that look amazing? So now we will taste it for seasoning and then we will spoon it up.
Alright, so now it's time to taste it. We topped it off here with some bacon and some Parmesan cheese. Then you always serve it with a nice dinner roll. Here, Angela Kay made some dinner rolls. Beautiful, beautiful rolls.
And I will link the video where I got that roll from. It's from Rachel Ballard from Feast and Farm. Amazing channel.
Alright, now let's taste this sucker. Gotta get a good tater. Need a little, find me some sausage. Oh, there we go. There's a good bite. Steaming hot, so I'm probably gonna burn myself. It's delicious though. Taters hold their heat. But it's delicious. It's honestly wonderful. Really savory, great flavor. Outstanding soup. Good way to get kale in you. Good greens without having to taste it if you're scared of tasting it. Outstanding soup. We appreciate you guys watching this. This has been our Recreation Homestead. We love you guys. God bless you and goodbye.